Welcome to SVG-TV News on Monday, May 18th, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Watch for me between now and the end of the year. That's the statement made by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves yesterday at the Unity Labour Party Women's Arm Convention, as he again told party supporters to get on their marks for the next general elections. While not stating the exact date for the elections, Dr. Gonsalves was also responding to his political opponents who say he is afraid to call the general elections. Dr. Gonsalves says his party is ready to continue with good governance and to lead St. Vincent and the Grenadines forward for a fourth consecutive term.
We have a lot of things happening in these general elections which are about to come. And they're asking me when. They say I'm afraid to call it. When the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines elected us in December 2010, they say you have 5 years and you got 3 months grace. Well, unless there are some special reasons, I don't want that 3 months grace in time, because in our hearts is the grace of love and watch for me between now and the end of the year. And when they say, what is the date? I put my hand up, my voting finger up to my Father who is in heaven. And I said to him, following the advice of the ancient prophet Eli, speak, Lord, your servant Ralph is listening.
Prime Minister Gonsalves urged supporters to stay grounded and organized and ensure that everyone eligible to vote is registered.
They have nothing to offer, no compelling narrative. But they believe that between themselves and a dozen or two internet crazies that they could make the ULP roll over and play that. Never, ever in a million years. In the country, I feel a mood like 2001. I feel it. I feel it. It's a wonderful feeling. And we have to turn the spirit. We have to turn the spirit in that mood into an ongoing strength, and to take all 13 and St. Vincent and go to the southern Grenadines and take that one and let me challenge in the northern.
And former ULP Parliamentarian and current Speaker of the OECS Assembly, Rene Baptiste, told the women of Labour that while they prepare for the next general elections, it's important to note that the tides of the time are shifting. Baptiste delivered the feature address at the convention held at the West St. George Secondary School under the theme, Women, Make It Happen 4 in a Row. Walking to the podium to deliver her speech with bat in her hand, the former parliamentarian says she felt it is necessary to remind persons that she was not out but left active politics willingly, having contested general elections on 2 occasions and won. Baptiste also told Vincentians that while it is important that they do not forget the struggles of the past, they must note that they now have much more work to do as they are operating in a different century.
Now it's 2015. Now we're in government. 12 seats in 2001, 12 seats in 2005, 8 seats in 2010. What do we want in 2015 and beyond? How many do we want? Are we going to make any mistakes? Are we going to stay home and sit it and win? Are you going to get to the polls? Are you going to vote Labour? I ask this question because you cannot look in the mirror and say it done happen. You can't look in the mirror and say I'm beautiful. You have to go out there and ensure that we bring in that victory. You know, the landscape today, 2 major political parties and 2 minor ones. Why do you want Labour to go back? I am giving you this address so that you can answer, because you ask yourself those questions too.
Baptiste, the former Minister of Culture, says SVG is moving on a journey to prosperity and success, which is not yet completed, Hence, Vincentians must not become wary.
Do you remember this with the airport, they're going to plant gun, not on it. It's a golf course. The tower is up. The terminal building is there. The runway nearly finished. And all I want is to be on the first flight coming in. This is what I want here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now approaching the Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent. It's a newest destination for British Airways. I'm looking forward to hearing that. Then I want to hear the young lady speaking in Spanish and saying, Señorita, señora, señor. Argyle International Airport.
The lone female candidate contesting the upcoming general elections on the ULP ticket, Debra teacher Debbie Charles, says there are several barriers to women contesting general elections and explains that the cultural norm and the critical role that women play within the family are only a few of the reasons why men far outnumber women in formal representative politics.
That does not take away from the sterling contribution that our women have made in the political arena across the Caribbean and right here at home. Women continue to inspire, and more of us continue to pick up the mantle of representative politics. The Unity Labour Party has always recognized women as equal contributors to the development and growth of this country. We have never hesitated to put women in positions of authority and decision making. Throughout the public service and in government statutory entities, women hold top positions. The ULP is the only party that has appointed 3 women to top foreign diplomatic posts. I speak of Her Excellencies Lucilia Prince and Rhonda King, ambassadors to the United States of America and the United Nations respectively, and a former ambassador to the United Nations, Mrs. Margaret Ferrari. Our own woman of labor, the Honorable Rene Baptiste, is serving us proud as the first elected speaker of the OECS Assembly.
The leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Arnhim Eustace, has condemned an incident over the weekend which reportedly resulted in injuries to some of his party supporters in the Mariacoa Valley. The NDP's candidate for the Mariacoa constituency, Curtis Bowman, on his Facebook page, reports that stones were fired on the gathering at a fundraising event at Ground Zero in Richland Park, in which one man had his head chopped and others received hits about their bodies, resulting in the police being called in. Commenting on the matter today on radio, the opposition leader urged his party supporters to exercise restraint when faced with what he termed as political aggressiveness.
That there is always the potential for violence during election period. People's tempers fly off and so on very easily in election period. Look at what happened at Mr. Bowman's Ground Zero. People pelted in stones. One man, I think, was fairly seriously injured in his head and so on. What are we doing that for? What are we doing that for? I'm urging the Democratic Party supporters to keep their heads cool at this time. I know there will be provocation. I'm appealing to you, keep your heads cool.
Eustace chided persons who may want to engage in reprisal tactics and says the political freedoms of all persons must be respected.
And we are making our own efforts, especially in the case of domestic violence too. That's why we were strongly supporting legislation a couple of weeks ago for domestic violence. We want to rid our society of this kind of problem and therefore open new doors for the people of this population, people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am not going to support any of our members or supporters of the party in the commission of any act of violence during this election period or after it. We are committed to a process, a democratic process, in which all rights must be respected for all of the people. That's what they're committed to. Some will say it's impossible to achieve. I think it can be largely achieved.
The Central Water and Sewerage Authority, the CWSA, is appealing to citizens to observe strict water conservation measures at this time, in light of a significant reduction at two of its main water supply intakes, namely Dalloway and Montreal. The company says the situation has been compounded by the continuing lack of rainfall. As part of the conservation measures being advised is for persons to restrict the watering and washing of vehicles with hoses. The company is also appealing to caretakers of schools and public buildings to ensure that wastage is eliminated and that the public should report all leaks promptly. The decision to pull the airing of the National Lottery's game draws from the national television station, SVG-TV, and to only air it on the cable channel VC3 is causing a stir among members of the public, particularly customers of the NLA. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Broadcasting Corporation, the parent company of SVG-TV, was informed of the NLA's decision through correspondence from the authority's product development officer, Anthony Denny. The draws that have been pulled from broadcast on SVG-TV as of today, Monday, May 18th, 2015, include 3D, Lotto, Play 4 and Super 6. No reason was given for the decision to have the draws broadcast only on VC3. Earlier today, SVG-TV News team took to the streets of Kingstown to give persons an opportunity to share their views on the decision taken by the NLA. Here's what some persons had to say.
You see that's total foolishness, because you can't do that. You have to cater for everybody. You can't cater for only them who could afford the cable system. You have to cater for poor people. Otherwise, without the people them in place, nothing can go on. You can't cater for one set of people.
Well, I say that is wrong, because everybody who have cable to watch it on cable. So I say that is wrong.
Them at know, can't say nothing. You understand? Them at know. People go upset, but what are they going to do? I really have nothing to say, because I in the hill. And I gone. So they will understand?
I feel bad about that. Because do you have cable? You don't have cable?
No, I don't have no cable, so I don't really get much with the cable. I rather watch natural TV and them. Because waste of time spend your money with flow and them money. You ain't getting back nothing.
That is not nice, because it costs them the pan TV all the time. So why the reason they have to do that now? That is not good enough. Do you have cable? They take it. Because I do not really take part in it, but I guess people will want to know. They would want to see, so that they can be sure that things are happening in a transparent manner. So because of that, I think it should be shown on national television.
Well, to me personally, that not really sung properly, because not everybody have cable. Not everybody could afford cable right now. Everybody have a little TV. You know, have to be plasma, and have to be flat screen. Everybody have a little TV. So me feel like if the TV to come over upon like usually before, it's all better for the whole country. But this V3 thing, me don't know where it come from, so me don't know where to try.
And the director of the Standards Bureau, Ezra, says members of the public reserve the right to complain against any entity that they believe is not providing just service. Speaking on the decision of the National Lotteries Authority to only air its draws on a cable station and not the national television station, Ledger says that patrons can question a sudden change in service and seek redress.
There are procedures and mechanisms for complaints, so there maybe if the public can obviously express whatever concern about, this, create a public opinion, and maybe they can get some redress. But for me, it's a business that they'll have to look at and see how they can best do. But personally, I don't have an opinion. But from a system point of view, I think that the public or those persons who play lotto can naturally go and seek redress through those authorities or those agencies. They may have some sort of control over the system, and they reserve the right. The person consuming that good or service has reserved the right to complain or to question or not to purchase that particular goods or service being offered. So it's naturally a choice. It's a trade choice because you're paying for a chance. But at the end of the day, consumers can complain once, of course, is respectful.
While admitting that he is not knowledgeable of all the details why the NLA took the decision it did, Ledger says he will look into the operational guidelines of the gaming company to see if it is following these guidelines.
Well, naturally, I'm not too certain what are the legislation because this entity should be governed by legislation. So if they have a legislation and if they have operational practice, then that will dictate how they go about promoting their business or conducting their service. And hence, it's difficult for me to make an opinion or to give an opinion if I do not know how, because naturally, if the law that governs the national authorities indicate, well, this is the way they need to promote information or to give information on the draw, then we as the public who are gambling should have to adhere to those practices. So I'm not too certain what is in those regulations. So first of all, we have to see how they're guided, what are the practices, and if they probably choose to change the media promotion of the game, that is their right. But I'm not too certain of what is the exact procedure. So to give an opinion would be difficult.
Vincentians need to be educated on the significant role that services play in the economic growth, increased employment, and the alleviation of poverty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That, according to the Director of Trade in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Cuthbert Knight. Speaking at the start of a two-day workshop which began this morning at the Foreign Affairs Conference Room, Knight says that the purpose of the workshop is to seek to assist participants with a greater understanding of trade in services and how to take advantage of the trade opportunities available both regionally and internationally. He added that the government recognizes the benefits of services offered on a daily basis and has taken the necessary steps to ensure market access for Vincentian service providers.
Trade in services in this respect is of very paramount importance. It is well established, if one is to consult various studies and research work, that the services sector is a facilitator of domestic growth. It anchors and supports the entire goods production process by providing value and add inputs for competitive industrial development. Services also contributes to job creation and is vital for poverty alleviation. This shows that the sector contributes to every aspect of our lives as citizens and consumers and is a fundamental part of our economy. It is therefore evident that services play an important role in driving economic growth and development of this country.
Customers of St. Vincent Electricity Services Limited, VINLEC, will see a decrease in the fuel surcharge rate applicable on electricity bills for the month of May. This rate applicable on the May bills is 32.24 cents per unit, a decrease of 2.23 cents from last month's figure, which was 34.47 cents per unit. The company says customers must bear in mind that there are several factors that influence the fuel surcharge rate, namely fuel cost, fuel consumption, and electricity sales. During the month of April, VINLEC says there was a decrease in the average cost of fuel per gallon when compared to March, while there was a slight increase in sales and that the output from its hydro plants improved compared to the previous month. The Richland Park Police Youth Club was officially launched yesterday at the Richland Park Hard Court. The event was hosted by the Pan Against Crime Committee in collaboration with the RSVG Police Force and the National Commission on Crime Prevention. Area Representative Gerlin Miguel, in her address, encouraged the young people to become their brother's keeper. She says by doing so, they will learn to love and support each other as opposed to becoming involved in criminal activities. Miguel added that through unity, a great deal can be accomplished for the community and the nation on a whole.
Heard the steel band play, I know who I am, and I am going to answer you this evening. I am my brother's keeper. Young people, I am calling on you this evening to remember that. Let it register in your minds. I know who I am. I am my brother's keeper. I must be kind to my brother. I must learn to forgive leave him when he does wrong to me. I should not take his life. I should not hurt him. I should not kill him, but I must love him.
And Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, says the sole purpose of the youth clubs nationwide is to build the morals and the values of the nation's youth, as well as to instill in them the desire for peace and also to practice upholding the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The idea behind the police youth clubs is to build discipline further among young people and to have them engage in community activities. And the idea is to inculcate in them the important values of peace, security, solidarity, and to assist the police in making policing easier. Because if you assist the police in making policing easier, we will have safer communities and citizen security will be strengthened.
Here is a look at some of the performances at the event.
Seems like I've always fallen short of being worthy.
He can move mountains, keep me in the valley, hide me from the rain. My God is awesome.
The Pan Against Crime initiative, which has taken a unique approach to fighting crime by helping young people in the country turn toward a life of music by learning how to play the steel pan, is the brainchild of the Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Gonsalves. Father and son Grantley Toughie Baptiste and Tashi Sutherland say prayers and survival instincts are what kept them alive after being stranded at sea for 3 days. On Thursday the 14th May, just after 6 a.m., the two set off on the boat called Stephanie from the Sandy Bay area for a day of fishing, but encountered engine problems and began to drift around 1 p.m. The 53-year-old Baptiste, who has been a fisherman for almost all his life, says he tried to remain calm but was disappointed 4 times before they actually were rescued. He says while at sea they came upon a cruise ship, but they believe no one on board saw them as it was night. The father of 9 children says later a steamer passed and they were also unnoticed. He says by day 2 they were sun-bleached and dehydrated and their spirits were down, but they never lost faith and continued to pray. But he says by day 3 a plane circled around and then a helicopter appeared. Both men were found off the coast of Guadeloupe, where they were hospitalized for 3 days and later taken to Martinique, where they were then flown to St. Lucia and Barbados before returning home on Friday.
Come back to see him home. And the plane just had the circle. And I tell you why I help. And the plane left, you know. The plane was circling. You left him, just circling. Well, some getting you water now. You see, in terms of telling you, we'll get some help this evening because till the plane left him, we'll get help, But my friend, we did about after 4 o'clock, we don't know about the helicopter 4 o'clock, But the helicopter was a P2. And the spin, we're going to get to height over the boat. When we height over the boat, the man come down in the boat. When the man from the helicopter come down in the boat and buckle you up. When we reach and everything and tell him body him and the guy with him in the helicopter. Lead in the boat now. I packing up everything in the boat. Well, when the man coming back for me, when the man coming back in the boat, he said, Cap, he say, man, the engine is dead now. He say, yeah, man, he's dead. So he say, throw it in the boat. He say, since you're still looking for you all, you know.
30-year-old Tashi Sutherland, the firstborn of Baptiste, remembered his survival instincts kicked in when he sunned dried fish to stay alive.
Something, yeah, until Saturday morning, I asked him where we did in the channel. He said he don't know. We say, well, nobody don't know. We just, and all he just telling me, we have to just start to drift good. Tell me, don't eat all and don't drink all the water. Just barely taste. So I see fish on the boat, I just start to catch some and skin them and dry them and cut them up very small to I eat. But he does when eating, so I just have to just sit down and just eat. Yeah. So the first time I try to eat it, I cannot make it. Spit it out back. I cut it again and put it in the sun. I say, well, I could taste it now and see if it will dry. Because sun will be very hot.
The two are grateful for the help of those who came to their assistance.